Hi, I'm David Johnson, and this is Verse by Verse. Are you ready for some good news? I'm not talking about some cute little story about a puppy finding its way home or a tattooed biker helping an elderly next-door neighbor. Those are nice stories, but they're never going to change the trajectory of a world that seems to be spiraling toward chaos on all fronts. Comforting ourselves with feel-good stories is like taking a painkiller for a deadly disease. It may relieve the immediate pain, but the fundamental problem is still there and the outcome is unchanged. As the daily deluge of disaster that seems to make up our news reporting rolls out before us in the various media, we feel helpless to do anything to change events that are so obviously outside of our control. Psychologists talk of compassion fatigue, especially among those whose lives are based on trying to help those who are the victims of the various forms evil can take in today's world. It is tempting to turn away and try to find a way to distance ourselves, lest the ugliness and suffering become overwhelming. People seek escape through entertainment or drugs or any number of other distractions that often create nothing but emptiness. So what would constitute genuine good news? Ralph Waldo Emerson once wrote, "Properly, there is no history, only biography." His point was that history is not simply places and dates and events. It always involves people and the impact of those events upon human lives. We could say the same thing about the daily happenings in our world. What makes news good or bad is the impact those events have on the human beings who are affected. So for news to be good news, it would have to address the heartache and suffering so common throughout man's checkered history and announce that genuine and lasting solutions have been found. That's not the kind of news you're going to hear on your news feed, and it's not going to come by electing the right person to a high office. But that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. You just have to know where to look. You might be surprised to learn it's been there all along, and it comes from the most reliable source available. In the popular religious world, the term gospel seems to be a nice-sounding adjective without much meaning. There's gospel music, gospel preachers, gospel summer camps. You know what the word gospel actually means? It comes from the Old English, and it means good news. But if you try to look up a definition of the word gospel, you'll find it seems to mean different things to different people. So, if I really want the good news this word is supposed to convey, where do I look? The book of Mark tells us that when Jesus began his earthly ministry, he came preaching the gospel, the good news of the kingdom of God. If the kingdom of God is what Jesus called the good news, maybe we should see it that way too. So why did he say the kingdom of God would really be good news? It's a big subject and worth the time to consider, but our passage for today can point us in the right direction. Let's read it. It's Isaiah 11, verses 9 and 10. "They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, for the earth shall be full of the knowledge of the Lord as the waters cover the sea. And in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, who shall stand as a banner to the people. For the Gentiles shall seek him, and his resting place shall be glorious." In announcing the good news that there is coming a time when the pain and heartache and wanton destruction of today's world will be gone, this passage gives us two reasons why the kingdom of God is the ultimate good news. The first one is that when that kingdom is established, the knowledge of God's way will be abundantly available to everyone on earth. Today, that knowledge is set aside as unimportant and impractical, and that is precisely why we have a world characterized by suffering and death. That knowledge is essential, but it's not enough by itself. The next verse promises that a descendant of Jesse, the father of King David, will stand on the earth like a banner for all people. In a time of turmoil, a banner shows people where to come for safety and protection. Jesus Christ, the King of the kingdom of God, will return and stand on the earth like a beacon, showing the way to all who want to learn the way of peace. For most people, even those who profess Christianity, that kingdom is a mystery, but it doesn't need to remain that way for you. Check out the show notes to learn how to download a free copy of the booklet, The Mystery of the Kingdom. Isn't it about time you read the ultimate good news?
Verse by Verse is a companion podcast to the Daily Bible Verse blog, which you can find on the Life, Hope, and Truth Learning Center. Check out the show notes for more.